Balance enters the new decade with a win, and my goodness was this one very German. So this one opens on a platform placed high in the clouds with 5 identical figures keeping the platform in balance, but when a mysterious musical box arrives on the platform, tensions start to rise and their world becomes unbalanced. So this one is a surreal, expressionistic piece which turns out was commissioned by a German synth pop band to accompany a new song. I'm not quite sure I get it, because there's not really any music in this short, but it is an interesting reason that this short was made. Just from the description, you can probably guess that this is a metaphor for many things, but the main lesson being around the importance of keeping everything in balance. Your life, the country, the world, everything needs to be in balance, and when just one element of a balanced object breaks from the balance, everything can topple. I do really like this message, and I think it was delivered in a very creative and still obvious way. I mean, it's showing the idea of balance in the literal sense, with non-human figures representing the many moving parts which are needed to keep anything steady. I'm not sure I can even dive into the many layers and meanings you could glean from this short. I've got at least a dozen buzzing around my head, but that would take all day to get through, so let's explore just a few layers while looking at the animation. Now, the animation I think has the exact right look and feel. It is a sort of uncanny valley with human shapes and human movements, but hollow, empty faces and stark white skin. It's almost reminding me of the Silence from Doctor Who. So at first, I'm not really sure whether or not to be scared of these things. Eventually, their personalities do come through, at least for a few of them. 55, the one to bring the box onto the platform, is more curious than the others and will allow some unbalance to find the answers, but not to the point of collapse. 75 is more cautious, wanting to get rid of the alien object which has thrown off their normal balance. And 23 is just a dick. Okay, that's oversimplifying it. He, I'm just gonna say he because it's easy, is eager to accept the box onto the platform, and when he learns only one of them can experience the music at one time, because everyone else needs to act as a counterbalance, he decides he wants it all for himself. His plan, while reckless, is quite smart. He knows the others will try to keep the balance for as long as they can, so he becomes the main causer of the unbalance, which forces them to desperately overcompensate, while he literally sits on his butt and watches the chaos. But once the rest of the group is gone, he is now the sole counterweight and cannot experience the music ever again without falling into the abyss himself. So I guess how I interpret this is that 55 represents the people in the world who take and take to the detriment of others, to the point that those others can no longer live off of what they have left, and eventually all that remains is the one who took all to begin with. But once everything is taken, there is no one left to make up for mistakes or selfish actions, so they are left alone with nothing. That's probably the most obvious interpretation someone can think of, but it's what came to my mind after a few minutes of thought. And I'm excited to watch it a few more times and dig even deeper. I really enjoyed this one, and it also really made me think, so if you're up for a surreal metaphorical experience, then give this one a watch.